Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be discussing what is there for the companies who have not filed their returns or compliances in the past. What is the MCA brought for them today? Today we have with us Mr. Rahul Agrawal. Let me first introduce you to Mr. Rahul Agrawal. Rahul Agrawal is a practicing company secretary. He has an experience of 4+ years with him. He's also an LLB, but consisting both, like having both the degrees with him, he prefers to practice in a company secretary rather than an LLB. Over to you, Mr. Rahul. Please let us know and please enlighten us about this scheme in our today's video.
Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you for introduction. And I'm blessed and it's my pleasure to being associated with SG Gupta and Company. So we are talking about today's company fresh start scheme. That is what we call it as a CFSS scheme. In this particular, only companies are allowed to get the benefit out of it. In this scheme, companies are given an option, one-time option to get the rid out of the penalty section of the compliances which they file while delaying the filing or crossing the due dates of their filings. If the penalty section is there, that will be waived off from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Apart from that, they are also getting benefit by way of getting an immunity certificate from all the legal department from which they get the sue for the penalty as well as delay filing compliances. And beside this, they can get the benefit of like lots of money with them so that they can definitely run their business easily.
Sure. So means it's like, saving the costs plus getting an immunity certificate also and getting a waiver of penalty also. Wow.
That's like, Shilpa, there is another way of generating a profit in business is like not paying a penalty is also your profit.
I completely agree. And plus, looking at the current scenario where people are, running short of cash flows, this would surely help them to, undertake the compliances as well as save money. So it's like a win-win situation for all the companies. Rahul, can you tell us for when is this scheme applicable?
Yeah, the scheme get launched from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs from the 30th March 2020, and it getting effect from 1st April 2020 till 30th September 2020.
Okay. Yes, so is it like, the forms which are supposed to be filed between 1st April 20 to 30th September 20 would be covered over here, or past forms covered over here? So I'm a bit confused with the dates. Can you help us in understanding that?
Yeah, this basically this dates for which I mentioned that 1st April 2020 till 30th September. This is the effective date of this scheme is there. But as far as the forms and their delay is considered, the form which get filed between this period, no matter even if the form is being supposed to file on the April and it got delayed because of any XYZ reason, especially in the COVID season of lockdown, if you file it in the month of June, the penalty will not be attracted till 30th September 2020. So as you can understand, not only the previous forms, but also for the forms which were covered in this particular period also are covering this scheme.
Oh, so means like both the previous period as well as the current period will be covered. That's nice.
Okay. Yes.
As you told me, the benefits it's like, you get a penalty waiver plus, no additional fees and this immunity certificate. How can I get this immunity certificate from the government when I file? Like, is it like when I'm filing, or I have to either apply it separately, or what exactly, how it will be?
Yeah, definitely. It's a good question, Shilpa. Generally what happens, whenever we file something to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, its sites, people are aware that the automatically approval system is there, and there is a system where the certificates are generated for the forms which they file. Like if you file an incorporation form, when you file charge form or any other form that you file, they simply generate a certificate kind of a thing on it. But no, this scheme does not talk about this thing. This scheme clearly says that first, whenever we are filing a form on the Ministry of Corporate Affairs for the delayed form which we are supposed to file, penalty will be waived off. And when this scheme is getting end, that is in 30th September 2020, after that, the Minister of Corporate is also going to launch another new form, which is called as CFSS 2020 form. in which they have to separately apply for the immunity or the immunity certificate from the separate departments, where which they simply declare what are the forms which they have filed lately and got the benefit from this scheme. And they have to make sure that they file the CFSS immunity certificate form within a period of 6 months from the closure of this scheme.
I mean,
Be clear, it is
closure. So it's at 31st March 2021.
Yes, you have to make sure that you must apply your immunity certificate within this period, because this circular and this scheme clearly states that if you do not file the immunity certificate within this period, you won't be awarded with any immunity.
So if I summarize with what you said, as regards compliances, I have to do 2 activities. One is within 1st April to 30th September, I have to do the compliance without payment of fees. From 1st October to 31st March 2020.
No, it's not without payment of fees. It's without the penalty. Yes, the form will be attracting a normal fees definitely.
Okay, so the normal fee which is there, which is applicable, that needs to be paid. The additional fee which you paid as a penalty, that will not be applicable. That is the activity which you have to do from 1st April to 30th September. And from 1st October to 31st March 21, I need to file a separate form, which you said, CFS 2020, to get the immunity certificate.
Yes.
Rahul, just in case, if I miss any, like I do one activity, that's the filing the form between 1st April to 30th September. And the second activity has been missed by me. So what are the consequences, or is there any, a waiver to that also, that, or any, condemnation that I can make in separate application, even if I make the application after 31st March 2021, where I can, still get the immunity certificate without making the application?
Shilpa, do you aware that earlier when the Companies Act 1956 was there in the execution, at that time the Companies Act used to launch, Ministry of Corporate used to launch company law settlement scheme, CLSS scheme. Over every 3 years they used to launch this scheme. In that particular also, they used to give you some kind of a certificate in which we have a list which forms and which benefits or the forms and compliances I got the benefit in this scheme. Then that time also and till date also, companies has never given any condonation on any kind of a representation to be made letterwards what they are declaring in that particular circular. So in this circular also, it is clearly not talking about any kind of a condonation, and it clearly talks about you have to make an immunity certificate application within a 6 months time. So if you likes to apply for the same within a 6 months time, definitely you are not going to benefit from the immunity perspective, but you are getting a benefit from the perspective of you, as you have mentioned that you have filed the form by taking an advantages of CFS scheme till 30th September. Your penalty would be waived off, but your this is still existing as the immunity is not there. So any kind of a prosecution can be done by any department stating that yes, you filed the form, but you have not filed the form on time. So please make sure that you also file the CLSS immunity certificate form also to the ministry.
Okay, so now I understood. In case if we do not file it, it's a loss to us only, because obviously penalty is waived off, but since you do not have an immunity certificate, prosecution will always be there, and you'll be liable to prosecution, and anyone can come down and go for a prosecution. Okay, Rahul, just in additional adding a twist to the case, assume that a prosecution has already started, and can I now go for this filing up a form without any additional fee, and also go for an immunity certificate?
Yes, Shilpa, there is two things that we are supposed to keep in mind. First, if any prosecution is being already started against the non-compliance, and the conclusion is being drawn by any department of government, then you cannot take the benefit of it. But if any prosecution is launched from the department and yet it is pending for the decision, and it is only for the prosecution which is as far as is concerned for the monetary factors, if it is from any criminal factor or any other perspective is there in the prosecution, it does not give you any immunity from that. It is giving purely immunity from the penalty waiving off rather than giving you immunity from the prosecution of imprisonment or any other legal compliances, legal immunity to you.
Okay, so in case where the directors have defaulted, in not filing the annual returns, earlier when prosecution was still there for that,
Yes.
that may still continue. But yes, when
Mhm.
it comes to monetary payment, that will be waived off through this immunity certificate. Correct?
Yeah. So you, as you can see, there are nowadays director who has been disqualified being a director in the company. They will be waiving of the penalty and they will not be held liable for why they have delayed filing, but they will not be getting a waiver from the getting their directorship number as a regular number rather than giving them a relief from that perspective, as you understand.
Oh.
So they will be still be a defaulter director till their cooling period will be coming. And after the cooling period, if they have completed their compliances, then only their directorship number will be becoming regular.
So, if I go with the same example which you have given, if I, as a director, has not completed my KYC, in that case, I
Mm-hmm.
can complete my KYC through the scheme, get a waiver of the additional fees which was
Yes.
liable,
Yes,
my
definitely, Shilpa.
get an immunity certificate also, but my
Yeah.
number will be not activated during this cooling period. Once this cooling
Mhm.
period is over, then I will be getting back my number as a regular director. Correct?
Yes, yes, Shilpa. Definitely. That's right.
Okay. Rahul, one more question related to this immunity certificate only. Do I need to pay any additional fee while or any fees while paying or filing this immunity certificate form CFS 2020?
It clearly states in the scheme which is launched by Ministry of Corporate Affairs that there will be no fees for any immunity certificate which is you have applied for. So if you file 10 forms and you apply for the 10 forms immunity certificate on the CFSS 2020 form, there will be no normal, neither the additional fees will be there. So don't have to be worried. It's free of cost. You simply file the form on time. That's it.
So it's like just filing the form in time. That's the best thing which you can do it. You don't have to be worried about any fees
Yes.
also. In fact, file the form in time so that you
Yes.
get the certificate. Okay. Okay. This entire
Yes.
scheme where I understand is, like a goody goody scheme wherein you don't have to pay the additional fee. Penalties also waived off. Immunity certificate is given. Is this applicable to all types of companies, or is there any, bifurcation in that also? That X number of companies or, turnover wise, what any bifurcation given for them?
Yeah. Shilpa, I have to make it clear that this scheme CFS is only for the companies, and there is no such bifurcation from the perspective of any types of bifurcation, any kind of business bifurcation, any kind of a capital or any kind of a turnover. There is no such bifurcation is given. Even the company who's formed in the January 2020 can take a benefit of it out of it. If the company is being formed 10 years back or any further, whenever the company is being formed, you can take the benefit out of it. There is no such criteria as currently. This is the best scheme so far being launched by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and it clearly said it is for the one time only. Shilpa, make sure that you take the benefit out of it.
So, okay. So there's no bifurcation. Any bifurcation related to forms which can be, covered under this scheme, or any type of forms would be coming over here?
Yeah, generally when I see any type of form is covered, but yeah, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has clarified with the exceptions. The exceptions are whenever you are going to file to increase your authorized capital for the form which you have to file, SH7 form need to be filed for this particular. That form is kept aside from this scheme. Not only that form, but also all the forms which are related to the charge sector. When you have to file CHG1, 4, and 8 form, where the charge creation, satisfaction, and charge modification in the different categories are available, those forms are kept aside from this scheme. Apart from that, you don't have to be worried about like या कोई दूसरा फॉर्म में फाइल इवन like you can say I have K3 DR3 KYC forms are included and other forms are also included. The only thing is these forms are kept aside from this.
Okay. Okay. considering the current scenario where government is continuously giving some extensions to so you that a businessman copes up in this COVID-19 situation, do you feel that there'll be an extension in this scheme also, or might be this scheme might come back again after a year or two?
Shilpa, the scheme circular given by the ministry clearly states that this is the one-time scheme. So we are not going to see this scheme again, as earlier used to have in Companies Act 1956. We used to see the CLS Company Law Settlement Scheme was there, which used to come in every 3 years and waiving of the 75% of the scheme's penalty amount. This scheme was going to be repeated. And it is clearly mentioned in the scheme circular that if people do not take a benefit out of this scheme, the ministry is keeping the right with them to sue these people and taking further action on these companies.
So overall, if I summarize the entire, whatever knowledge you have given is that this scheme is applicable to companies. There are some forms which are, kept out of the scheme, but apart from that, all the other forms are covered. You have to pay just the normal fee which you pay while filing the form. Additional fees, if any, is been waived off. You have to file this form between 1st April to 30th September, and between 1st October to 31st March 2021, you have to additionally file an immunity certificate to get the immunity from penalty. This does not immune you from the prosecution, which is going to be carried on the directors or the person responsible to carry out these activities. This scheme, according to you, is a one-time scheme. I suggest, friends, you also please look into this scheme into detail and take the maximum benefit what is possible, because as Rahul told that this is a one-time scheme, there's a very rare possibility of it being repeated in the future. Plus, MC, that's Ministry of Corporate Affairs, once the scheme is over, may be behind you to since like you have not taken a benefit, you are in no mood to carry out any compliances. They might put you behind the bars or initiate prosecution, and the penalty, that amount that time would be very huge. So take a benefit of this scheme. Rahul, any points which you would like to add to this video which has not been covered in our discussion, which might be knowledgeable for our
there is only one point which people might be having in their mind. What if their company is under the process of strike off is there, or the companies who's got striked off, even they can avail the benefit of this scheme? The answer is no. The companies which are under the process of strike off, who have applied by filing a STK2 form or company fast track speed forms, or company who got striked off from the ministry's end or voluntarily, these people cannot avail the benefit of this scheme. That is the only thing that you have to make sure. Otherwise, we have covered almost every aspects of the scheme which they have pronounced from their end. So it definitely, I would also say that this is, since it is a one time and it is the actually golden egg being given to the every company from the ministry's end, that they should get the benefit out of it. So I would say ki not paying a penalty is also your profit. In this lockdown, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has given you a chance to generate a profit. So please make sure that your company is being getting a profit from this scheme.
So thank you, Rahul, for covering all the points today. Maximum is being covered in this video. We have also, summarized all the points in a blog, which is there at the bottom in the description section. You can click on the blog and also read about this scheme. In case if you have any questions which has been not been answered or not been covered in the video, you can also write in the comment section. Mr. Rahul is always available to answer those questions. I hope, friends, you like this video. In case you like this video, please do like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa.